Thank you for coming to the statewide PACE Symposium. And we're glad that you're here in downtown Los Angeles to attend. My name is Howard Choi. I'm with the Los Angeles County Office of Sustainability, and we're very happy that you're here, and we're happy that a number of folks have gotten together to put this on. This is a very timely meeting. There's a lot happening in PACE up and down the state as well as the country. What we found, though, is that unless we're out there talking about what we're doing, making things happen, showing what we're making happen, a lot of folks just don't know that PACE is still relevant, that it still exists. I get this a lot with my own elected offices who ask me, are we still working on PACE? So this is a really good opportunity right now. And what we want to do here today is bring a lot of the stakeholders in PACE together to discuss what's happening, what the different programs are, who the different players are, what some of the differences are between the programs, so that whether you're local government, whether you're a lender, whether you're a technical consultant, financial consultant, you get a sense of what things look like out there now, because PACE is quite different depending on who you're speaking with. There's different program designs, different financing models and approaches, different participation requirements. Residential PACE is happening alive and well in California, as well as non-residential, primarily commercial programs. So we're going to have an open, honest, nonpartisan discussion of all of these different programs, get it all out there for you. If you're a decision maker on PACE, and I'm imagining we'll follow up with some sort of a results report or a fact sheet about what came out of this, and have a lot of this on the record. So I can tell you that PACE still is very relevant in California. The Public Utility Commission, in their 2013-14 energy efficiency programs, have set aside $200 million to sort of kick financing programs off in California across all sectors, and that includes support for PACE. Prop 39 fundings, estimated at $500 million a year, specifically calls out PACE as a program that those funds are supposed to support. The governor's office, in their cap and trade workshops, they've held three workshops up and down the state recently on the energy side of those revenues. Again, PACE was specifically called out as a program that those funds are intended to support. So there's going to be a lot of assistance from ratepayer and taxpayer dollars. We also know there's programs out there that are running independent of those, using strictly private financing, and we have those folks here today. So just real quickly, just so we can see what kind of representation we have. If you're a local government or representing local government, could you stand? Just raise your hand. Okay. If you're with a financial institution. Okay. If you're a PACE program implementer. Okay. And if you provide some sort of support to PACE programs, whether it's technical, financial consulting. Okay, so we really have a good representative group, and I give credit. Oh, I know we have electeds here. I know we have, do we have Vanin Sivaram from LA City Mayor's office? Not here yet. Okay. Oh, great. Okay, thank you. Sorry about the pronunciation. I know we have at least one other elected here, and I will introduce him later. So I'm going to get this started. I first want to thank the folks that facilitated this effort, got it together. That was O'Rourke and Renewable Funding. So Tracy from O'Rourke, Cliff from Renewable were the real workhorses in getting this together. You can meet them at the happy hour later. Speaking of happy hour, we have Johnson Controls Russ Garcia, who is here, I saw him. He is sponsoring the networking reception, which immediately follows this afternoon. And then the financial support to pull this off also came from Sonoma County, City and County of San Francisco, San Diego through San Diego Gas and Electric, and the Western Riverside COG HERO program. So this truly is a statewide collaboration, a statewide effort. So at this point, I'm done welcoming, and I want to introduce Jaron Blumenfeld, who is going to be the keynote speaker. Jared spent nearly 2 decades on the front lines of protecting the environment with a focus on taking action on climate change. Jared is the EPA Region 9 Administrator and has taken a number of significant actions since being appointed by President Obama in 2009, including leading efforts to improve air quality and reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the public and private sectors. Jared oversees a region with more than 48 million people and is dedicated to improving energy efficiency in California and beyond. Before joining EPA, Jared was the director of the San Francisco Department of the Environment, where he helped initiate many landmark environmental laws, including the city's ban on plastic bags, a 2020 zero waste goal, LEED Gold building standards, and overarching precautionary principle framework. And I believe Jared was there when the city and county launched their PACE program as well. So with that, Jared Blumenfeld.
Thank you, Howard. How are you doing this afternoon, everyone? Good. Just gonna, technical difficulties. Moving, I've gone PowerPoint free. That's my pledge to the planet. So the real reason that I'm here is that they needed someone of Jewish descent to give the good news to everyone that Pope Francis will be the new Pope. And EPA is actually a pretty good entity because we look at smoke. And so, you know, they asked me to come and give that announcement. It went from black smoke, which we don't like, to white smoke. And he's an Argentine, which for me is good because I like soccer, and Messi is Argentine, and so, yeah. We have lots of things to look forward to. In all seriousness, I wanted to start by saying that, as Howard did, PACE is a local government innovation. And I first want to thank the local government innovators, many of whom are in the room today. Some of you I've known for a long time, and others I'm going to get to know during the course of this conference. But from Berkeley to Palm Desert, Sonoma County, San Francisco, Howard and LA, all the way to Western Riverside County, Chula Vista, you guys are the innovators that have made this thing happen. And you not only had a good idea, but you also had the courage and management skills to make those ideas into a reality. Talking of courage, I want to thank Cliff and Tracy for inviting me to speak today. And I want to give them a big round of applause. It's not easy to convene a group like this. As Rich and I were saying, probably only 3 people interested in PACE in the nation are not here today. So for the 200 of you that are here today, let's give Cliff and Tracy a round of applause. I also want to say thank you to the private sector, the partners in the private sector, from financial institutions to contractors, utilities, third-party administrators who are working with local government. And as someone who came from local government, we understand that we cannot do it without you. You make the PACE programs a reality, and I'm going to talk later about how we bring PACE programs to scale. Without you, we will not achieve scale. So thank you for being in the room today. Thank you for your interest in the program, and thank you for what you're going to do in the future to make this effective. In his State of the Union address, the President redoubled his commitment to combat climate change, and he said that he's going to set a new goal for our country, which is to, these are his words, let's cut in half the energy wasted by our homes and businesses over the next 20 years. The states with the best ideas to create jobs and lower energy bills by constructing more efficient buildings will receive federal support to help make it happen. That's a big thing to hear from the president, and it's pretty squarely what we're here to talk about today. The president issued us a challenge, and I'm glad to see that many people in this room are already working hard to meet that challenge. The rest of the state, and indeed the nation, has a lot riding on the results of this conference. And it's not often that you say that. Many conferences, they come and they go, and not that much is riding on it. You actually have the potential and the ability to shape the future of energy efficiency, and we really need to make sure that you do. As you all know, but I think it's worth repeating, the easiest, cheapest, and most effective way to reduce greenhouse gases is to make our existing buildings more efficient. We spend more than $400 billion each year to power our homes and commercial buildings, consuming more than 70% of all the electricity used in our country, about 40% of our nation's total energy bill, and about 40% of our nation's carbon emissions. Making buildings more efficient represents an investment opportunity of nearly $280 billion over the next 10 years and could create about 3.3 million jobs. 3.3 million jobs is huge, but it's done on the back of saving people money and reducing greenhouse gases. The savings is about $1 trillion when you project that over 10 years with an investment of $280 billion. So why aren't we doing more? The top two reasons given by those responsible for energy investments in their companies cite two things. One is a lack of funding, and secondly, insufficient payback. Let me repeat those: lack of funding and insufficient payback. That's why people aren't doing energy efficiency now. And that's, there's a return on investment in some of these energy efficient measures, taking out T12s and putting in T8 linear fluorescent tubing. That's 6 months to a year and a half payback. So if people aren't doing that right now, many businesses obviously have, and they're looking for deeper savings. Because of lack of funding and insufficient payback, we really have a golden opportunity. Many people in this room may, and I did some digging back, because even though Howard was right, we were there in the heady days when everyone wanted to be like Cisco DeFries and Mayor Bates, and we were all super excited about what could happen. Many of you may not even remember what PACE stands for, so I'm going to remind us what it actually does and why it's significant. So it's a property assessed clean energy. That's what it stands for, property assessed clean energy. So Cisco, maybe your next job is coming out with a slightly better acronym. It's actually a great acronym, and maybe it doesn't matter what it stands for anymore. Financing is really designed to meet those twin challenges of creating a funding supply and making sure that there's more immediate payback. While PACE financing doesn't reduce the total price tag of energy efficiency measures, or for that matter, solar energy systems, it helps make them more affordable by spreading the cost of systems over a long period of time with, very critically, zero upfront investment. Other advantages of PACE include immediate positive cash flow and a greater long-term property value. And for many of the businesses, especially coming out of this recession, they're looking at wanting to get those savings, but not sure how long they're going to own or be in the building. And those kind of decisions often trump the immediate benefits of energy efficiency. Until recently, building owners had a limited option for financing energy efficiency, ranging from self-financing to government-sponsored unsecured loan products to energy-efficient mortgages, none of which have the benefits of PACE. So PACE financing effectively allows property owners to repay borrowed money via special assessments on property taxes or other locally collected tax or bills, such as a utility bill. PACE financing ties the cost of building improvements to the property itself. If a property owner participating in a PACE program sells the property, then the repayment obligation legally transfers with the property. The benefits of PACE financing include long-term fixed financing costs, loans tied to the tax capacity of the property rather than to the owner's credit standing, a repayment obligation that legally transfers with the sale of the property, and potentially a deduction of the repayment obligation from federal taxable income as part of the local property tax deduction. As we heard from Howard, in 2012, California launched a massive PACE program that, at its inception, allowed non-residential property owners in 126 cities and 14 counties to finance renewable energy, energy efficiency, and water efficiency projects called California First. That's kind of catchy since it, I guess, was first. Many other states have put their PACE programs on hold because the Federal Housing Finance Authority, at this point, this is the point that I declare that I'm a federal official, and we certainly want to do our part to hopefully this September there's a critical decision coming up from the Federal Housing Authority, and that who knows what will happen, but anything that we can do at EPA and certainly the Department of Energy and others are all pushing to try and look at this loan subordination issue. So at the moment, it effectively stopped residential PACE financing, although, as we heard, some of it is still alive and well through innovative sidestep mechanisms. The work that you are doing over the next 2 days is important, and as I said, the most important thing is moving from these smaller projects to larger scale. In order to give PACE the legitimacy that it deserves, we need to do more projects. So from financing a handful of projects to financing upgrades for literally thousands of buildings throughout California, we can do more. In the federal government, we were pushed by both the president and purely by the economic savings from efficiency. And we've spent in the last year, even given all the financial difficulty, about $1.7 billion on energy efficiency projects, which is an 80% increase from 2008. At EPA, we see huge opportunities for energy efficiency in commercial buildings. EPA's Energy Star portfolio is the tool that we use to help building owners and operators reduce greenhouse gas emissions from commercial buildings. It's integral to our Energy Star approach of reducing emissions across building portfolios. We estimate at EPA that near-term opportunities can result in an average of 30% reductions in emissions per building. And through benchmarking, building owners have numerous opportunities to identify and act on energy efficiency opportunities. Our Energy Star portfolio manager enables users to compare the energy use of similar buildings, helps identify underperforming buildings to target for energy efficiency improvements, establishes baselines to set goals and measures for progress for energy efficiency projects over time. It's used by more than 250,000 buildings, representing nearly 27 billion square feet of commercial and institutional building space across the country, and it's required now for use in buildings owned and occupied by U.S. federal agencies. The federal government, as many of you know, is the nation's largest single landlord and energy consumer. We operate more than 500,000 facilities, comprising more than 3 billion square feet. The goal of the Department of Energy's Federal Energy Management Program is for the federal government to lead by example, ensuring that all new construction, major renovation, or repairs meets aggressive sustainability goals. Federal agencies have already identified $2 billion in energy upgrade projects and have awarded $400 million in construction projects. Now let's turn to the state of California. We in this state use less than 55% of the electricity of the average American. The reason for this is energy efficiency. Back in 1976, the Warren-Alquist Act first mandated that the Energy Commission create and update building energy efficiency standards, and this has set the pace ever since. Thank you for the laugh line. The emphasis on energy efficiency has meant that California has avoided the need to build an estimated 16 new power plants over the last 40 years. But in order to achieve the aggressive goals we have set both as a state and as a nation, we do need new tools such as PACE and on-bill financing to begin the financing transformation to a clean energy economy. For example, and Rich and many people in the room deserve credit for this, the San Francisco Green Finance Program financed $1.4 million in PACE financing for efficiency and renewable energy upgrades at the Pier 1 headquarters for Prologis, and I know Rich is going to talk in his panel about this. This project is the first project of its kind under PACE in San Francisco, and through the installation of a solar array, Prologis will reduce grid energy purchases by 32% and generate a savings of $98,000 a year. That's pretty good, hey? Yeah. So capital on the scale necessary to upgrade buildings across the state will have to come, as I said, from the private sector. It will have to be low cost, accessible, and simple. That is our challenge. Low cost, accessible, and simple. If any one of those don't work, if it's low cost and complex or not accessible and simple, it just simply won't work. This is the very essence of a private-public partnership. The public sector's goal is to develop the structure of the Special Tax Assessment District, and the role of the private sector is to provide the capital and the financial expertise to bring the programs to scale. We know that energy efficiency is a sound investment. We know it provides a rare opportunity to stimulate the economy while simultaneously cutting businesses' expenses. And we know from the EPA perspective as well that it cuts pollution, which will make your residents and customers happy. But knowing all this does not make it a reality. PACE helps ensure that business owners see savings from their investments on day one. And that is a huge breakthrough. Seeing a savings on day one is probably the most significant aspect of PACE if you're a business owner, and ultimately it's up to those businesses to make this decision. If you can ensure that PACE financing can work, that a business owner has a simple, minimal risk path towards saving money, you will be supporting the economy, the environment, and our health. All of the residents of California will benefit from your success here today, and the rest of the country can use your experience as a model to serve the remaining 49 states. I want to extend my best wishes to you for a productive conference and for the rapid expansion of your very promising PACE programs. With the great group that we have in the room today, I know that we will succeed. Thank you.
I think we all need 5 or 10 minutes to let that sink in while we're also setting up for the panel. So go ahead, feel free to stretch your legs, be about 5 minutes or so while we get set up here. Thanks.